What's happening? Benton here. Going live much less earlier than anticipated. So hopefully that's not too causing problems for folks. Hell, I'll probably be done by the time it was supposed to start. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. Should I just stop scheduling the live streams ahead of time, whatsoever? Is that the move? Or maybe I can set them up, but then not have them where everybody can see them, perhaps. I don't know. Is that a thing? Man, woke up wide awake around 11:30 something. I don't know, might have been 11. Kids hooping and hollering. They want to talk about the youth and this and that. And then for some reason, I popped into that Robert Escobar show. Is that the moon up there? Popped into that, yep, that Robert Escobar show. Of course, he's got no viewers, but there was a time when I was struggling with barely any viewers. Hell, 5 in the house right now, right? So, I understand, something about glass houses or whatever. What's up, Bex Factor? Good to see you. Yeah, I've been, for some reason, my sleep schedule has gone back to what it would be when I was truck driving for some insane reason, where I would typically be, sleeping anywhere between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. and then, up by certainly before midnight. And a lot of times I would roll out of the truck stop between like midnight and 1 a.m., depending on the time zone and such. For some reason, my body is going back to that for whatever reason. I don't know. I think I was no idea what time I laid down, but yeah, I woke up wide fucking awake, 11:30. Laid there and listened to the kids running around. And we talk about so then this is where the tie-in comes with the Robert Escobar show. Is so I'm chatting with him a little bit. I'm typing into the live chat and he's responding. And for some reason, he wants to bring everything to the Green Party as if that's somehow possible to like as if that could fix anything. But then I'm also thinking about, well, I got kids in the building here running around hooping and hollering until midnight. Of course, those kids have a chance, right? Because it's easy to just write them off and say, well, there's obviously no chance for these kids. They're living in whatever hovel Benton's in, right? Whatever building that is. Cheapest place in town that's halfway decent. There's cheaper that are certainly not acceptable, right? But they have a chance because they have a dad. And guess what? Dad came home. I guess he's probably out working. I'm assuming who the hell knows what he's doing. But none of my business. I tend to mind my business. But I did notice that not a lot of racket out of the kids once Pops came home. Interesting how that works, right? I'm guessing everybody simmered down and went to fucking sleep. Of course, I don't know that Mom gets the blame necessarily for not being able to accomplish that, right? And then the old stereotype of, moms with the kids all day and then, dad comes home at the end of the day and like he's the big hero or whatever. But yeah, this guy, man, Escobar. Well, and I don't find him very interesting, I have to say. And good to see you, GRP, by the way. Good to see you, Bex, in the house. Well, and see, sleeps. Okay, I'm going to put it to you this way. It's none of my business. I can't give people advice. There's not a human being in the realm that's at their maximum of what they could be that doesn't have their sleep dialed in. And having sleep dialed in is having a sleep schedule, period. A person who just is just sleeping, randomly, willy-nilly, that's not a serious person. I mean, period. It's just not. So when I say that I've gone back to my truck driving schedule, it's still a schedule, right? I will be awake. I'll more or less wake up around 11:30 p.m. until something changes, and then I'll gradually be sleeping in. And recently sleeping in as late as like 3:30 a.m., which for me is big. That's big time, right? But Probably the number one thing that I see people that is not a part of their life that could be very easily, although people don't see it that way, right? They don't see that this is an easy thing to do, is go to sleep at approximately the same time every night and wake up at approximately the same time every morning. That's it. Just do that, right? I'm not giving advice. I'm saying there's nobody, with some exceptions, I'm sure. There's always exceptions to everything, but effectively, there's zero people who are kicking ass and taking names. Not that by the way, I'm no proponent of that. I think that's where me and Mr. Escobar sort of begin to work at cross purposes at times. Is that I'm not saying that's the goal. I'm talking about in the idea of American exceptionalism, go out there and be productive. And I understand that Ms. Bex is Canadian, and I'm not picking on Ms. Bex. I'm merely pointing out that this is the way it is, right? But my life's in a shambles in many ways, so I'm certainly no paragon of success or such. But remember, I did an entire broadcast one time about this is success, and I explained, that people want to talk about success or say that I'm unsuccessful or whatever, but without examining the concepts of what is behind success. And I can't really rehash it here because it takes like an hour and a half to go through the whole thing. Yeah. But anyway, not trying to pick on anybody. Believe me, I'm on the fucking synthetic cannabinoids. I mean, much of the audience is just patiently waiting for me to get off of drugs so we can get back to doing, a somewhat of just the show we're kind of all used to in a way. Like, yeah, I'm aware of this. So yeah, I'm nobody to point to and be like, well, he's got his act together. So surely, now there's hope for humanity. No, quite the contrary. I'm more coming at it from the never bullshit yourself angle, right? If that makes sense. Like, I might choose to have just an insane, unhealthy sleep schedule. That's possible, but I won't do that. If I do that, I'll know that that's exactly what that is. I think a lot of folks want to try to, act like, well, that's just the way it worked out, or, yeah, well, you're lucky. You can go to sleep at whatever time. What do you mean luck? I fucking lay down and go to sleep. Luck ain't got nothing to do with it. Now we get into, well, but I have the racing thoughts, right? Yeah, I'm a person too. I deal with all of these things also. It's possible to get sleep under control if one wants to. Perhaps one just doesn't want to. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe we just don't want to, Robert Escobar. Maybe the fact, Mr. Escobar, that you want us all to vote Green Party. See, this is how humans are, sir. Maybe the fact that you, Mr. Escobar, want us all to vote Green Party. Maybe we're not going to just because you want us to. Have you ever thought of that, you fucking bozo? Have you met the people, Robert? Have you observed their behavior up close? I'm not sure that you have. And I'm sorry. Now I feel bad for the whole sleep thing with Bex. It's really none of my business. I don't know. I'm sort of loaded for bear in a way. Highly suspect got me charged up a little bit. Not in the way that he intended, certainly. And then Escobar. Although I don't really let myself get fully triggered anymore, as y'all may notice. It's like minor triggerings here and there, right? What's up, Maggot? Good to see you, sir. From Bex's. I'm not saying you're from there. That's where I've seen you. See how I speak specifically? I'm not from Channels either. This one, I guess. I'll claim this one. Yeah, I don't think it's annoying. See, I disagree. I think that's I think it's a very immature, but this is my opinion. I don't know you. Again, now it's like I can't even have a go at the live chat without the standard disclaimers, but I find it to be fantastic and the exact opposite. But yeah, it can be annoying. I agree with you that at times I've been annoyed because I was doing whatever creatively, and I had a lot going on in my mind or whatever, and it's like, oh, if only I didn't have to sleep or whatever. But I think you know what I'm saying. I seem to be in a metaverse with a lot of folks who more or less stay up all night every night, as far as I can tell. But then I'm, Benton likes to be different and be the black sheep or whatever. So of course I'm one of the few probably the only one who goes to bed insanely early and wakes up and now it is nighttime, right? I wake up so early it's still nighttime. So fuck, what's that one guy with the 4:30 a.m. or whatever? Jocko, fuck you, Jocko. Motherfucker, I go to sleep and wake up, it's still the same day, partner. Go fuck yourself. What's up, Destroyer? Good to see you. Yeah, just getting ready for bed. Well, and then also, is watching just the blue light. And I know everybody's probably got their filter. I got my filters cranked to the max to try to cut down the blue light, right? But then we get into like, I don't know, man. And I believe me, I'm consuming media right up until sleepy time. Also, plus I'm on the THCO, so I have an advantage of going to sleep. Did I even go to sleep last night, or did I just pass the fuck out? What's up, Christos? And again, I used to stay up all night. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But I think a lot of my annoyance is that people want to do a lot of habits they know are bad for them, but then they want all of that justified in some way. That's what annoys me. The fact where people stay up all night, yeah, go ahead. All they have to say is, yeah, it's pretty fucking stupid to stay up all night, but here I am staying up all night again. But yeah, it's clearly fucking stupid. It's pretty much bad for everything having to do with life, staying up all night. But yeah, see, I'm able to say all of those things and then be like, yeah, and that's what I'm doing. It's like, yeah, alcohol is fucking destroying, when I used to drink it, yeah, it's destroying my physical body. Give me, and here I am buying a 30 pack or whatever. Or cigarettes, same thing. Like, yeah, it costs a lot of money. Most of it goes to the government in taxes, and it ruins my health. Yeah, sign me up. I'm not saying don't do the thing, right? It's more of our attitudes towards it. We want it to be okay, right? We want it. It's not okay. It's not okay to smoke fucking cigarettes and give a lot of tax money to the government and ruin one's health. No, it's not okay. Robert Escobar. It's not okay to stay up all fucking night and ruin our health in certain ways, and now our brains don't work. Now, but then again, in this nightmare dystopian beast system, do some of us want to give our best to this thing? If daytime is when the person's forced to, air quotes, be productive and, fit into society, well, yeah, why show up to that at anything less than our absolute worst? See? I like it. Yeah, I'm starting to figure it out. What's up, Carl? Sleep is for the trolls who haven't found enough shit shows to keep running ops in. Well, there you go, Carl. There you go. And again, do whatever you want, right? It's just, I don't know. I notice certain things and they bother me, and maybe the fact that certain things bother me really is proof of nothing, right? But, I did not intend to get off on any of that. So, I guess I'm just excited that I got folks in my live chat. Yeah, there you go, Christos. He's prepared. Awesome. But I certainly wouldn't, I'm not here to question what any of you lovely people are doing. I'm just, me, I'm shooting my mouth off like I pretty much always do. Okay, Carl. All right, I surrender, Carl. Exactly. Time is limited, and there's just so much trolling to be done, right? So I get it. So you just let me put up a little bit of a fuss, and then wait me out, and then here come the voice of reason. See, I'm won over. You won me over. Maybe if Robert Escobar could learn to do that, then he could sign up all kind of folks for the Green Party. Right. Oh, man. Who? I look good? Destroyer says I look good. You're not talking to me, are you? Yeah, somehow I look good somehow. I don't mean like attractive. I just mean, yeah. And then I don't know, man. Interesting. How does that work? For somebody as ill as I am, I don't know. I know this, for as thin as I am, my fucking face is all puffy. Like, what's up with that? That's something ain't working right. You know, I weigh 120 pounds. Why is my face blowed up? You know, I don't know. Something's going on. Yeah. Thanks, Carl. I'll assume that's for me. The legend part, anyway, and the laughter. I'll take the laughter too. Oh yeah. Oh really? Oh the yeah. Well, Beck's got it bad. You're clearly addicted, and I'm seeing some parallels with myself. I was doing you know, arguably I was engaging in obsessive behavior to some extent for a short period of time. I feel like I got a handle on it, but then, you know, people like me and you, Bex, I think we can always justify some of this obsession through, well, I'm learning a new skill or whatever, right? Like, yeah, well, yes, and you're doing it through an obsessive means. Potentially, I was rather, in a way, like it's very limited. It's not a true, you know, how could it even be a true obsession if I'm aware of it, like self-aware obsession? You know, that doesn't seem like a thing. So yeah, there you go. Safety gear, huh? What's the safety gear? We all know what my safety gear is. Man, how long does it take to get over? This is, you know, I like to walk, but damn, how long has this been? 15 minutes of walking to get over here. Yeah, I'm wore out, and it's not, you know, oh, you woke up at 11. It's not any of that. I'm just exhausted, like pretty much all of the time. Maybe that's why I'm getting fucked up so much. I don't know. It's got to be for something, right? And not booze. I like to get fucked up. And it's THCO fucks me up, even with my tolerance. I just have to do way more of it. So I must have snuck up on Music Holds a Secret. He's not used to seeing me quite this time. Although there was a time when he was used to seeing me at this time. And you know, Bex, we do train the audience in certain ways. We do train the audience in certain ways. Oh, the eyeglasses. I know, man. What the hell, dude? Yeah. What the hell's going on here? And since I'm cooking that meat, them roasts, I'm a little unsure of, cause I had my vegetables are all dialed in, you know, when I just cook vegetables in the slow cooker. And then I have to time all that out with, well, am I even going to be there to turn the fucking slow cooker off? Because, and I understand there's timers and all of this, but that's not in play right now. But so you have to sort of head off the problem solving at the pass there. And you see what I did there? So then I got highly suspect texting me wanting to have private phone conversations. And, you know, I tell people stuff and do they just think I don't mean what I'm confused. Like, because I directly tell people stuff and I don't expect them necessarily to remember or for it to sink in fully, but it's like I've never said anything, you know? I'm not available, but I'm just effectively not available by telephone is ultimately what it's going to come down to. Especially now when if I really am all in on the content, which I seem to think I am, it seems like I am. I don't have the luxury of talking to motherfuckers on the phone for an hour and a half anymore. I just don't. It wasn't a regular part of my life, but did I miss some? Oh, I see what that is. A bit of whiskers. But yeah, you know, it happened recently with, I'm not trying to brag, but we all know every once in a while I go on a halfway decent rant. Less and less these days, certainly, but I'll be back. I'll be back. I'll be back in full form, but you know, I don't have the luxury of just randomly saying some badass fucking rant into somebody's ear hole through a cell phone, and it's not being recorded by us. I should say. You know, somebody's got it somewhere. So I don't know, kids. Sounds like talk to me on StreamYard, partner, so I can click that little record button. Oh, but now we're paranoid. Oh, we're paranoid, but it's the information age, and we're all carrying around the devices of our enslavement and giving everything straight to the government and big corporations. But, oh, Benton, we can't get on StreamYard. He can press the fucking record button. Guess what? I can put an app on this phone and record every motherfucking thing. What's the difference, man? And highly suspect's not. He's not the one being paranoid. That's just a general. I'm just throwing that out there generally, how people are. I'm just sick of it, man. I'm pretty much just sick of everybody. I got to be honest. Not the audience. I mean, listen, this is my refuge to some extent. But, yeah, I mean, people who actually can talk about ideas some of the time, right? Some of the time. Thank you for that. I need it. Um, Now the vape's all fucked up because I carried it in the backpack. Why did I do that? Where did it just leak out? Where did the fucking, it's still in the pen, but where does it go to? Now it looks like half of it's not there, but I know it is. I guess it just needs to, I don't know. Bizarre. I don't see any fluid in here. It's a mystery. And we'll wait on that to normalize. Oh, fucking A, dude. And I've told him, I guess he must be on drugs. I mean, that's the only. Are you on drugs? Highly suspect. It's okay if you are. But it's just drug behavior. Especially somebody who ends up texting me while I'm asleep. Now the phone is either on silent or it's usually in airplane mode, but now I'm back and forth between two phones. Yet another reason I don't want to talk on the phone. Like I don't even, sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm hotspotted off my phone and then, somebody's texting me, but I need the previous text conversation, but it's on a different phone. But then I understand there's ways to make all this sync up. I don't care. Like, I'm not interested. I'm just trying to do live streams, and I have no, sometimes the internet doesn't work. Now I'm hotspotted on my phone, but 5G doesn't seem to work properly. So now I have to go to the old phone, so it'll stay on 4G. So you see, I'm already doing all these machinations just to try to get life to work, whatever that is. And then now I've got people who want me to do things that I've already more or less communicated is basically off the table effectively. Like, yeah, okay, sure, I'll let me maneuver my day to be able to have a conversation with you, highly suspect. But guess what? I'm hanging up after 15 minutes, partner. I don't know what to tell you. Because anything beyond 15 minutes, now we might be doing a podcast, but we might not. And here's the best part. And Big L's the same way, and God bless them, they can't do nothing about it. So I can be talking to them, and we can just accidentally start doing a podcast, right? Some of that is that they have interesting ideas, and they can have a back and forth, both of them, believe it or not. Highly suspect not showing it as much these days, but he's certainly very capable of a back and forth, and holding it more than holding his own. You might just have to trust me on that. But yeah, well, you don't have to. I can't just schedule something like, hey man, yeah, I'll talk to you for an hour and a half. If he can't get his equipment to work, okay, I'll rig it up where we don't have to live stream it, by the way, but I need to be able to record it. And if it sucks, it sucks. It never goes anywhere. I can't just keep giving my gems away for free, or not even for free. I just not capturing. It's not even free. It's worse. It's just, it's something that potentially had a value that people might have wanted to hear, or that what if one day I don't have anything to do and it's like, oh, I'm out of material. Oh yeah, that beautiful rant I delivered months ago. Let's just cue that up while I go use the bathroom or whatever. See, man, it's the creative mind, sir. It's if I am really doing some really low version, low level of artistic achievement version of my life as art, and then now I'm in a capitalist system where at least, now I'm at least incentivized to do some version of, it's not grifting. It's really worse in a way. It's just more or less panhandling. So it's like, yeah, I used to panhandle in the physical space, and have, not that long ago, about a year ago, probably was the last time I panhandled, close to a year ago. But yeah. Definitely summertime. So yeah. What, am I blocked? Who's blocked? Oh, Destroyer? I don't know. Surely not me. Am I making sense here? Because why am I like, and again, I'm martyring myself to some extent. I understand, and some of you must have these same, there's no way some of y'all
are not like, yes, exactly. He's saying the thing that drives me nuts. It's like, why am I able to adapt to people's insanity and just insanity in general, but then people who want to presumably work with me, or at least, you know, find some value in just having a conversation with me. Like if I had some really good friend, or not even friend, if I knew somebody that was like good at having conversations, and that was, I didn't, nobody in my daily life could really, I could talk to them about this stuff, or maybe like this one person I can talk to, but just a little piece of the puzzle. But then when I bring up this other piece of the puzzle, they freak out. Like all of this stuff, right? So it's like, okay, I got this one person who's willing to talk to me, but he just wants to do it in a way he can record it, because if it's good enough, he wants to make it, more or less make it into a podcast. I wouldn't give a fuck, but it's a constant attempts to get me to I'm not on your program, highly suspect. This is the only way I can say this, man. I'm not mad at you. I know he's sensitive. I'm on my program, sir. I'm not on your program. I don't know that you have a program. I'm not going to be on your program. I'm on my program. My program does not involve getting text messages by people when I'm fucking asleep, okay? Now, I'm not expecting people to know that I go to bed almost maniacally early, right? That's not the issue. The issue is text message is not the way to get a hold of me. It's an email. But oh, wait a minute, email. See, I'm figuring this out. This is actually just people are irresponsible. People are irresponsible. It's because if we use email, now we don't know, is he going to check his email? Okay, why are we last minute in everything? Why is it last minute? The fact is, I am available ahead of time for scheduling. You can just schedule things with me. People don't know this. Just tell me what time you can do it. And if I can do it, I'll say, yeah, man, that sounds great. It's so fucking easy. But the text message is, hey, man, I just noticed fucking some time is in my schedule, and let's text Benton let's see if Benton's available. No, I'm not. No, I'm not available. Spur of the motherfucking moment for your program. And if your program requires other motherfuckers to be available at spur of the moment, your program probably ain't shit. Your program probably ain't shit. Because my program involves letting a motherfucker know ahead of time. It's one of the rudest things that can happen, actually. It's fucking rude. You want me to be involved in some shit, that's great. Could you let me know a little bit before it's right fucking now time? Could I have a little heads up? Is that okay? So yeah, let's do everything on the phone and on the text message. Because email, we don't know how frequently. Well, I check it every motherfucking day, multiple times a day. So what's your time frame? Your time frame is don't plan anything. And I don't even mean highly suspect. Many people are this way. Their program is they plan nothing. Other people plan things, right, that they may, you know, believe that they're forced to do, right? All of this other people are injecting, you know, and then the job, you know, that imposes some level of structure, right? I mean, go to the job and just dictate to the job how it's going to communicate to you, right? Meanwhile, I'm not even dictating. I'm just saying, I'm not a fucking phone person. Quit trying to contact me through the goddamn phone, you lunatics. Now I understand, and again, my apologies, not the audience. Very few people do. The highly suspect's driving me crazy with this bullshit. Because no matter what, his goddamn email works. I understand the part where, and hey, patient as can be. See, here's what's hilarious is, it doesn't bother me at all that he can't stay connected to the live stream. See, that should bother me, but it doesn't. What does bother me is him having the opportunity to use things like email to contact me ahead of time and not doing it. But based on nothing other than nothing is compelling him to do it. There's no mechanism compelling him. It's him having to realize the value. If maybe he doesn't. See, I'm assuming that he values our interaction. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he doesn't. See, now I'm doing basic shit like I accuse Robert of doing, where I'm like, hey man, you're skipping a whole bunch of basic shit here. See, I have to at least stop and say, well, does he truly value? No, he doesn't. If he actually valued our interactions, he would not be behaving this way. So I've just solved the problem. If he truly valued our interactions, he would not. He would hear me say, "Hey, man, I'm not a phone person. I don't get phone calls. I don't want text messages." But I'm saying it in a nice way. I don't want to deal with you over the phone at all, sir. Ever. I don't want you texting me. I don't want fucking phone calls. I don't want it from anybody. Before, it was tolerable because I had not yet tried to turn my entire life into content to hopefully be able to earn just enough of a living that I may soon die of chronic illness. Right. Like, seriously, this is where we're at. But his email ain't broken. I get emails from him still. Anybody can use email. Anybody can use email. Anybody. But we don't, there's no read receipt. We don't know that he just got the message, right? Well, I'm on it fucking multiple times a day. I'm going to get, but are we really not breaking off enough extra time to give Benton, oh, well, he's going to read the email within the next 3 hours, certainly. Is it really that fucking, is it really that much of an emergency? No. And if it is, call 911, by the way. Well, maybe not, actually, but you know what I mean. I don't get it. It's got to be it's drugs, I guess. I don't know. I'm not trying to accuse people of doing things, but like, what is this behavior? And what is it? What the fuck is BTM, by the way? Robert was talking about that, or somebody was talking about it. I don't even know I don't know what that shit is. Non-committal. Well, if nobody understands or can practice commitment, they all become that, don't they? And you know, obviously, I'm speaking generally. I'm exaggerating for effect. There's always exceptions to everything. I don't believe literally everybody, right? It's effectively everybody. Oh, that's good. Yeah, go for it. Go for it. Certainly, I've demonstrated some ability to subtly to work with Tommy in very subtle ways that perhaps some have noticed. There's a certain level of skill involved. But you know, well, I don't even want to get into that yet. But yeah. Somebody can tell me what. Oh, I'm behind in the chat. My apologies. Thank you, Roy. Thank you. Yeah, see, some people like it when I get all fucking froggy and sideways and start going on. I don't understand it. I don't, you know, is it just that I am this way and it's rare and just I'm nuts for expecting effectively any other person here in the realm to be the way I am, where if somebody just tells me, hey, I'm not a phone person, I just believe them. And then when they say, hey, email me, I just email them. I mean, what is this? And I've still had people not email me. Like Z won't send me an email. I mean, is it really this level of paranoia that it's just like, again, make a burner. I don't give a fuck. If I'm a hacker, man, believe me, if I'm a hacker, you sending me a fucking email with a burner is not going to be the, oh, now I got them. Like if I was an actual hacker, that's not going to be the thing that trips you up. I can promise. If I decided, if years ago I had devoted myself to learning to be a hacker, I'm pretty sure I would have been halfway decent at it. Not great, but I think I would have been proficient for sure. I'm not going to be hacking anybody. I'm not Matt Quantum of Conscience. I'm not trying to compile your data. Email. I don't even know what Hoax Wars is, so I'm probably not the one to ask. But, Tommy very strategically sound in whatever he's doing. So I don't know. I'm sure he's got a reason. But I'm so far out of the loop on a lot of these communities. I've heard of this thing, but I don't even know what that is. You had to explain Kiwi Farms to me, remember? And I can brag about being on the internet since 1994. That doesn't mean I've kept up. That doesn't mean I've kept up with the like, yeah, he's been watching TV since 1967. But yeah, he's still talking about Lawrence Welk also. Or, well, I guess that was the 50s, but you know what I mean. Yeah, it doesn't, just because I've been here, it doesn't mean that I've actually joined the rest of you in some of these areas. Just because I've been around for a long time. One thing in their heads at a time. That's right, Roy. They're normies, bro. And I guess that's ultimately what's happened here is that, Highly Suspect's not a normie, but he just kind of is in some of his thought processes. And it's like, I can't climb in there and unfuck whatever that is. I chose to climb in and unfuck my own thought processes. I can't do that for him. I'm a good listener. I'm happy to listen. Not on your phone where we're not recording it, sir. Now, if we plan this out in advance, Mr. Suspect, I can probably rig up. I did this before, by the way. I can rig up the equipment and probably take you by phone for a podcast. It doesn't have to be live streamed. I know I threw you on the live stream last time, but it doesn't have to be live streamed. But part of that is him knowing, well, Benton's live for the next fucking 5 hours and I can't talk to him, right? I mean, eventually it's my job just going to be, I have phone conversations with people and for X amount of dollars. I mean, seriously, I'm on the verge of just saying, yeah, man, $100. 2 hours, $100. I mean, I'm not even kidding. Like, okay, now it's transactional. Like, I haven't had these conversations with myself, right? But I told that to my dad at a certain point because I saw he was trying to sort of use me as a therapist because and I'm not saying Highly Suspect's doing that because he's not, but in fact, I've offered in some ways. But what I told him is I have to do this on the StreamYard. That's my only stipulation. I have to do this, and I'm already because I like to work with people and because I'm reasonable. Now I'm already backing off of what I said I needed. See how people are, man. And I'm not saying he's this way. I'm saying, do you see the dynamics? And to me, this is further proof of what I've asserted that the basis of almost all human interaction is It's manipulative inherently. That he's trying to get what he's trying to get. And I've just more or less said, okay, sir, let me help you get what you're trying to get, but I'm just going to let you know from minute one, very helpfully, this is what I need. And now I'm negotiating against myself on the basis of what I said I need out of the thing. I need to be able to record it just in case some fucking gems fly out of my mouth, which probably is not going to happen realistically, but it might, and it has. Me and Big L just basically sat there for a couple, we paused for a time and just sort of admired the rant as it was just still kind of floating out there, right? Floated on by. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know. I know I can't do that again. I know that. So probably should have been recording it. Yeah. At what point can I just can I log into the government server and at least just have my own? Well, yeah, we know you're recording everything, government. So as a part of that, I gave a pretty good breakdown of whatever this topic, like a real succinct 10-minute, but I hit all the important points and wrapped it up and got in and got out. So I'm just going to log in real quick and just go ahead and grab that snippet. Thanks. And, obviously some future version of this would be much less kludgy than that, right? Fucking mess, man. Well, here's y'all. Listen, see, I'm not even going to read your comment, Beck. See that? Why would you listen to what Tommy told you? That doesn't. See, I don't listen to what Tommy tells me. I can't give advice, but that would be, to me, my key in dealing with Tommy is I know what. Okay, some of the things he says is very important and needs to be listened to, but I know when to not listen to. I don't listen to vast portions of what he says at times. But I'm listening as far as I'm monitoring the transmission. When I say listening, I mean like actively listening, right? And I am good at actively listening, by the way, on a telephone call. Why shouldn't I? If I'm in a system that now we're justifying our own potentially bad behavior, because the fact is, I do consider it healing. I know it to be healing. People engage in certain interactions and conversations. The fact is, I don't have, again, I mean this when I say to RT that, you know, the reality is I can go live by the dumpster behind the Quickie Mart, and there's almost nothing that the authorities or the system or any of this out here, other than actual nature, can compel me to do or not do. You know, what I have to do is pretty much built into the experience itself on a 24-hour basis, right? Like, yeah, there's certain things I'm, by the very, you know, the nature of what we're doing here, or what we all seem to find ourselves inserted into, right? And if it's a matrix, presumably, you know, we or these individuals have been inserted into it, right? But then matrix means womb, apparently. So I don't even know that we're using I don't even know that the term matrix is being used correctly in that sense. I don't know. What's up, Salty Siren? Good to see you. But again, none of this is going to amount to a hill of beans. I'm not going to resolve, you know, any of society's issues. So Robert Escobar, who seems, and again, the amount of, maybe he's just LARPing. Who knows? Maybe he's doing material. I have no idea. Maybe people just pick a thing and it's like, okay, I'll just pretend like I actually believe that if the Green Party were in charge, you know, there'd be some hope for humanity or whatever. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Thanks, Specs. And I don't, you know, if I'm right, that's enough. I don't need to be agreed with. First, make sure you're right, then go ahead. Supposedly, David Crockett said that, amongst other things. Hey, what's up? Yeah, my bad, man. I already mentioned that, or if you rewind. And I think Music Holds a Secret probably doesn't do a whole lot of replays, or if he does, he wants to speed them up probably like I do. I'm just guessing. Yeah, I mentioned that already. I said I snuck up on Music Holds a Secret. But there was a time when I was going live about the time I went live on this one. And Bex knows this feeling, Bex. There was a time in which I went live and that 0 was a 0 for a while. See, now when I do these, I know that it's never going to stay a 0. That's impossible. But, you know, there have been times when it's like, even recently, where it's like, I don't know if we're going to hit double digits. But probably will, right? Even if it stays at 10 or 11. But there was a time when it was, every broadcast was like 4 or 5, and then maybe it was more than that, maybe it wasn't. But there were certain people who I could count on to be one of those 4 or 5. And, so I noticed, and I'll never forget that, Bex. So, you know, again, I would just assume you know who those people are for you, if that's a thing. You know, I'm just assuming that it is. Not that they deserve anything above and beyond anybody else, but necessarily. Not that they don't, but I notice. Very important. And in many ways, those are some of the most important people in a broadcast, if you think about it. And Kim Before the Storm, we've had so many epic things have happened on this channel, lest we forget, folks. I mean, to be sure, it's undebatable in my view. So much so that I never bothered to curate them, or even, you know, what if I just kept a journal? Like, and we want to talk about professionalism. Here's the lack of Benton's professionalism. There's no reason for me not to have had a notebook for every single one of these broadcasts, and just real quickly when it's over, the date, you know, maybe a quick list of notable guests, and then very quick summary of what happened. It's all it would take. And then maybe a time code or two if it was really epic. It's less than 5 minutes, see? So, you know, a lot of these things that I'm getting annoyed at other people, it's like, yeah, I do this, my own versions of the same thing. But then, am I tightening that up over time? Am I the type of person who, just the fact that I've become aware of it, you know, now probably I'll start planning some sort of way to actually do a version of that, although I may not. It may, I mean, another year may go by and I'll be like, yeah, I actually thought I was going to start keeping some form of a journal. So at least I would have notes, you know, if I wanted to go back and find an old show, I might have a chance. Right now it's effectively impossible. For me anyway, my schedule. What's up, Roy? Off to work? That's Chainsaw Roy Duggan. Let's be forget. Good to see you, Roy. Well, if that's for me, then I don't know what you mean exactly, but something is happening, whatever that may be. If not just, you know, turning away from whatever world Robert Escobar show seems to think is real, right? And then he's in there poo-pooing the Unabomber. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Ted Kaczynski was one of the, and then see, I'm going official fiction. See, with Escobar, I don't have to clue the audience in that I understand that maybe there's, that's could be completely fictional. Ted Kaczynski, the whole thing, yeah, definitely could be. But I don't have to do none of that. Escobar it's official record, therefore he's already agreed in advance to just be like, yeah, that all of that really happened. So when they're like, the one other person in the chat, when I say he has no viewers, I guess that's not. And he at least figured out, well, you're here, sir, so that can't possibly be true. Well played, Robert. Touche. You got me there. Actually, but realize I didn't think you would even notice. So now we see that, yes, you are somewhat aware and paying attention. Just to establish at least a baseline. And I don't mean baseline like a flat line. That might actually represent his IQ or intelligence or thinking for himself meter ultimately. Because is it possible for one to think for themselves truly and to end up running around trying to get people to register for the Green Party? And what do I care? I know I'm not. The chances of me just showing up and to the government signing up for shit that's probably shit sale for the most part, right? That ship has probably been sailed. Vividness 420 checking in. Good to see you there. Vividness. Almost had to go British accent. My native tongue is so guttural at times. Grand Rising from Denmark. Just popping in to greet you all, listening while doing chores, and heading out for a walk with Jackson soon. Is that I don't know who that is exactly. Sounds lovely, by the way. So can't be in chat. Much love and strength. Now there might be crossover with other channels there too. I don't have an issue. That's probably more for the chat than for me, but I'm more than happy to read it. Although, lest we forget, all comments are directed at me on some level, at least from my perspective. No matter what anybody else says. Yeah. Well, I personally disavow this whole thing about intentionally having a smaller audience. But, I would challenge you as an individual. Is that really the case? And if it is, fine. I'm not. My own particular motivational system or whatever it is, it's not set up. I'm not motivated that way, so I'm skeptical based on my own observation. So only you are the one that knows if you're actually bullshitting yourself on that basis. I'm certainly more comfortable with a certain, because there are times when nobody else is live and I'm not even doing a panel and it's 65 people, right? That's happened. And yeah, the 29 or 30 is it's more comfortable. So I guess I could, if I were to maneuver things intentionally, I just probably wouldn't view it that way. So maybe you're more in touch with what your subconscious may be trying to lead you to do, right? And now I've gone very pop psychology, and I'm not attempting to psychoanalyze someone over the internet. I'm trying to keep it general. And broad. It's interesting. Very interesting. And I know I was onto some sort of interesting psychology stuff before that. And this happened to certainly drop an elbow on whatever was left of the attention span. This one will probably be a short one, just so y'all know. Now, will the broadcast wrap up before it was even scheduled to begin? That's a good question. Also. I think 3:30. So now I feel like I pretty much have to go to 3:30, right? I'll probably wrap up right about. So then a lot of this stuff I'm sort of lobbing highly suspects way, with me and the, potential undiagnosed autism, whatever in the world that means. And then my research indicates that some autistic people do recover, and that's assuming we would have to define what does that mean. I'm just gonna, and I think maybe Provo Kid might have gotten a little, might have offended Provo Kid a little bit. trying to talk about autism with him possibly. You know what? I realize now I've had almost no interactions with Provo Kid, even though I was on his podcast that he puts on Spotify and Apple iTunes. I haven't seen him, heard from him, nothing. Not that I would expect to anyway, normally. I said a couple of things that he might have strongly disagreed with about autism, which is probably not a problem. I probably did it in a manner, and it's sort of a bit of a presumptuous manner, perhaps, Mr. Provo Kid, if you ever see it. And now see, yeah, perhaps my behavior was a tad presumptuous. Yeah. Interesting. The panel walking. I'm not a fan of the panel walking either. I mean, obviously, everybody. I'm not the language police, but I'm just not a fan of it. It reminds me of when Paul and Slade was still trying to resist YouTube streets or screets. He was at first he was trying to say that's not a thing. We don't say that, basically. Well, of course, when he's referring to his broadcast, that's fine. But, the fact is, the community is the one who determines that, and the community is spoken. If we're even willing to use the term community in this way, community decided that yes, we do say YouTube streets, or dare I say screets. But yeah, I can understand trying to resist the idea when it's still possible. Yeah, I'm resisting panel walking. Perhaps that's not a thing that can be resisted. Well, and now if you're talking about me making show notes, this is specifically just a notebook with nothing in it, but like it'll end up being, at most 4 lines total per show. So then the person just has to force themselves to not write more. But then also some shows it's literally the date, and there were no guests and basically nothing to report, or just one very general thing about what was probably Maui fires or whatever, Hawaii fires, DEW, right? The majority of the shows, it's mainly for me, it's to be able to be in the habit of making the show notes so that when things of note happen, at least that part is recorded, and I can flip through the pages and be like, okay, this is the ones that are notable will stand out right away just based on what's on the page. That makes sense. But generally, Truth or Cop probably way better at researching and note taking and all that than I am anyway. I'm sure he's got a handle on it. So, thank you for that, sir. Indeed, sir. Indeed. Not going to amount of a hill of beans, to be sure. Oh, Roberts looked like he's had some baked beans time or two in his life. And I guess he chose to misunderstand my comments on testosterone. Although, fair play to you, Robert. Yeah, he waited until I was in his live chat and he could just say his piece and I couldn't stop him. Good on you, sir. I like to do that myself. Sometimes folks are confused as to why I won't come up on a panel and, let's hash this out or whatever. It's like, no, I'll go to my own channel and I might just play the entire encounter and respond to it, but I'll certainly just go over there and just say whatever I have to say about it. And whoever wants to listen is more than welcome to come listen. And most likely there will be not a permanent record, but there will be at least for the time being, a record. And how about those bozos trying to go on Z's show about that guy the flat earth guy who got accused of this, that, and the third, I guess, with the Me Too type of stuff. Y'all know what I'm talking about? And I know these are all prominent people, but I don't ever know who these people are. Yeah, I don't dislike Robert. I got no beef with Robert. It's just clearly the politics thing that he must be disabused of these. Well, he mustn't, but perhaps he can be disabused of some of these notions, right? Yeah, exactly. Just play the content. And the thing is, YouTube, there's the thing where, if I go and play Caleb Hammer channel, the financial audits, if he just challenges everything and I'm going to get strikes, then I need to make sure I've covered my bases as far as, okay, I let the audience know where they can find this content. I used it based on what YouTube claims is fair use or whatever. This and see, I don't believe in transformative content. I don't think I'm not transforming anybody. It's ridiculous. That's not a thing in my view. But they want me to do certain behaviors to make it seem like I've met these metrics, right? And I don't care about the metrics, but I will. Okay, I'll do the thing just so I can play Caleb Hammer. But Bex, what I've noticed in these truth communities with these live streams, you can play whatever the fuck you want, and nobody cares. And either nobody ever, and I don't even want to say it the way I'm about to say it, but I'm just going to say until something changes, that's just how it is. It's not guaranteed. It's not set in stone. That's how things are right now until that changes. And the only thing that doesn't change is that everything changes. On a long enough timeline, there is not going to be a YouTube anyway, or it's going to be something different. It's not going to be this anymore. So yeah, you can do all that you want. I played my own content. Like I had this really famous dust up with Sly Shy where look, I'll just say it. I got a lot of love for Sly Shy. I would rather still have her in my channel the way she used to be in my channel. I don't regret I regret nothing. But sometimes shit happens and it just happens. But I would rather she was here more or less every day, active in the live chat. She came up on panel sometimes. Hell, her and EBT had a 2-hour conversation at one point while I was getting lost in San Antonio multiple times trying to get fuel because my company had lost their fucking minds and was trying to get me to only fuel at specific locations, which is a horrible way to try to conduct truck driving. It's a backwards way to try to conduct truck driving. And I'm not a truck driver, Robert Escobar. I'm not a trucker, man. I don't view myself as a trucker. I'm certified and the system will allow me to drive an 18-wheeler as early as 30 days from tomorrow. Right. After a 30-day waiting period, as early as the very next business day. I don't identify as being a trucker. Robert can say whatever the fuck he wants about me being a trucker. By the way, this is how people hate truckers. I don't know if y'all know that. People hate truckers, but we're incentivized, and for some reason, a lot of people still think that we are to be seen as proper in society. One has to act as if, oh, supply chain and truckers keeping America moving, and then Trump actually, fucking shouted out some specific truckers to their face. Although who watched that? I watched that. That was a fucking farce. That was a farce and a shambles. Play the clip, right? Play the clip. What if I had actual production, y'all? Right? Or what if not I, what if we had actual production? We had Truther Cop used to produce on an ad hoc grassroots basis. By the way, Truther Cop, one of the very first people to understand or grasp that the broadcaster or the content creator or the person administrating the channel in some regard was open to other folks co-creating content on an ad hoc grassroots basis and with an ethos of get in where you fit in. And Truther Cop, almost like a square dance was already occurring, and Truther Cop knew how to jump right in or jump rope, right? He knew how to get in there and start jump rope. RT, you don't know how to do that. Now, maybe you do. You don't know how to do that in the way that I know how to do that, which is why I felt like I needed to explain to one of my elders a concept that to me is more or less obvious, which is why I say there's no such thing as common sense. There's really not. Because the stuff I was breaking down for RT is more or less obvious to me, meaning AKA common sense, AKA not a thing. If I really am some unique fucking just broke the mold 101, how can I expect y'all to just see things? And so common sense means what's obvious. Obvious. What's obvious to me is not obvious to most folks. And what's obvious to most folks, I'm just Mr. Magoo, fucking obtuse, dense, oblivious. And that's just how it is. And people are like, you have to write this down? Motherfucker, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yes. You think I'm just choosing to write some shit down and I don't have what is? Yes, but once I write it down, I no longer need the page because I've memorized it. Yeah, I must visually see this information. Yeah, call me fucking crazy. I understand that most of you ain't wired that way. What's that got to do with me? Oh, I don't know. I have no idea. No idea, Beck. Couldn't say. Uh, I got my own opinions about just things generally, though. I think the way YouTube and the metrics works is YouTube wants all of your content on your channel as long as it's content that, see, they do, but they don't. As we see, Chalk Body Outline almost couldn't make a video for damn near on Chalk Body Outline, his main channel. Damn near couldn't use it for probably an entire year, maybe a year and a half. And had to take almost all of his extensive, very impressive back catalog down, hundreds of videos. I was in some of them. And he even at a certain point, just I could tell he wanted to know what I thought. I was like, take it down, man. It's not worth it. I had no hesitation. Because at that time, that was the only way he could keep his channel. So if we, meaning these communities, goes right back into that climate of censorship, which I wasn't on YouTube, remember, I was on nightmaredystopia.com. And if Robert's listening, pirate radio for the zombie apocalypse, although he's not, I know he's not here right now because he would have to chat. So I know he's not here. Although to his credit, I asked him in the chat, I said, hey, Robert, drunk or high or both? And he kind of paused and laughed and said, maybe a little of both. And I was like, my man, although certainly don't condone those behaviors. But when I was able to, that was my, that's what I like. I wasn't trying to drink and I wasn't necessarily trying to smoke, although if I had to pick one, it'd be the smoke. Put them together at certain times, right? What's up, Snafu? Good to see you. Mr. Benton, indeed. And I'll Ricky Henderson this motherfucker anytime I want, by the way. Somebody was like, oh, Mr. Benton's likes to go third person. I will Ricky Henderson this piece anytime I feel like it. And I know y'all don't do sports. That's certainly an extremely dated reference, even to those who do sports. Shout out to the trying to remember their nickname back then. When when Canseco and McGuire both played for the A's. Some folks probably don't even know that was a thing. And yeah, Ricky Henderson was there. Ricky Henderson, the GOAT of third person. In my time of interfacing with media, which for me, a lot of that would be internet, surely, but a lot of that is also television and cable television and things like ESPN. No human being has gone third person on national television more total number of times than Ricky Henderson. I bet you everything I own. It's not debate. There's no way it's not a thing unless there's some sort of just obvious fucking trap I'm not seeing. Yeah, Ricky Henderson, certainly the GOAT of third person. Nolan Ryan. My first wife, Mr. Ryan, came to their school to speak, and the kids because when a famous person's around, it's natural to want to get that person's attention. So there can be a cacophony of clamors. Probably not saying that right. I'm doing some writing, but I'll think about that later. But yeah, there's all these kids, but they want to say Nolan, and he would not allow the kids. They had to call him Mr. Ryan, meaning like if he's signing autographs or whatever's going on, he's not going to do that for that kid until they say Mr. Ryan. I like that. It's kind of how I was raised in a way. Not saying that was better, but in some ways. And the fact is, I woke up just after 11 p.m. Kids hooping and hollering, running all around. Loud, hard floors, which I prefer the hard floors to the carpet, but got a lot of sounds bouncing around. Dad came home and and at first I heard Dad's deep, manly, masculine voice, and I thought, well, shit, now I got to listen to this dude because then I'm thinking, well, shit, I might as well just go live if it's just now we're just full on game on with the fucking noise here. But they might try to go to bed, and I'm still going to be going here. But no, he's just letting them know Daddy's home and he's tighten up the foolishness. And guess what? The foolishness tightened up. I heard him a couple more times. But, and the mom can't do that. Mom can't replicate that. Moms can figure out how to do effective levels of discipline, sure. At least, right here, right now. But no, man, there ain't no replacing that. So I started to try to say what chance these kids have, these hours, but it's probably out of necessity. Both parents probably have multiple jobs. Let's be real. If they're actually paying their, if they're going to be getting out of this place and presumably moving in, to an actual apartment, because there's very affordable apartments in this town, very affordable. So I can only assume that they're working towards, getting into more stable housing. Yeah. And this is an area, I'm not recommending Fort Smith, Arkansas. I'm saying what I just described is damn near impossible in many parts of the country. It can't be done. Here it's still possible. And these are low-level jobs, most likely, right? There's a very high likelihood. He probably, in this area, he probably does okay. But what if he's a felon? You get into what kind of job can the person even qualify for? And then some folks just are not going to be able to pass a drug test, but they might know how to show up with the, well, I shouldn't say that. That's not even the relevant factor. Really, what the system is looking for is, can the person submit a sample that will pass a urine screen or urinalysis or a laboratory examination by a laboratory. See how I must be specific, Robert Escobar, or if I'm not very specific, how quickly I end up far afield. And I know you're not. And I also know maybe some of the reasons some folks listen to me, maybe some is they aren't readers, which is fine. Some people just aren't readers. But I say things that to a person who reads is a common expression that I realize now a lot of you are just maybe not familiar with some of these things that I say, right? I get too self-congratulatory. I see the numbers are dropping. Maybe somebody else is live. It's Beck's live. Yeah. Oh, Ricky Henderson. Gary met Ricky Henderson when we played for the Angels in '97. Very light in the shoes. Interesting, Gary. Very sweet man. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, actually. Yeah, surprise me. I'm sure that's the thing. He certainly, what people don't realize about somebody like Ricky Henderson, because he plays sports, is most folks will try to put down his accomplishments to primarily physical gifts, right? Like that he was clearly more athletically gifted and had more tools at his disposal. That is true in many regards, right? He was certainly the only player that had his tool set or his toolbox. However, that wasn't how he did what he did. He did what he did through the power of his mind and being by proving to be of greater intelligence than the other people who had similar levels of athleticism but weren't able to, and similar gifts but in a different configuration or composition, who weren't able to maximize them. Shout out to 10 Canadian dollars. I will not make the joke, and this is for you, Bex. This is what you get for your $10 Canadian, Bex, is that there was a time just after, I believe it was probably 2010-ish, 2009, when historically it had taken something like, I'm just an American going off of the dome, like $1.25 to $1.35 Canadian to equal $1 US. And I might be getting that backwards because I am somewhat dyslexic and prone to transpose. But the ratio or whatever only works in one direction. So whichever direction that it mathematically works, I know I might have said it backwards. But I do recall, because I was following for an entire year, I followed the daily. I read 50 news articles a day, but it's specifically relating to the financial system. And I also read 10 to 20 books. And I as a layperson, became very comfortable and adept and could demonstrate an understanding of the financial system to a greater extent, right? In order to learn what I needed to learn and what I wanted to research, I had to more or less teach myself as a layperson, how does the financial system actually operate, which that's terrifying in and of itself. That's very horrific and unsettling to learn that. But here's what you get for your $10 Canadian. I remember the days of Americans making Canadian dollar jokes, which was fine because that was a thing. Then I was following the news cycle, and I remember a day in which a parity was achieved, and $1 Canadian was the equivalent of $1 US. That did happen. It happened within the last 15 years, best as I can recollect. So I don't necessarily make those jokes. I will make Canadian jokes in certain times, but usually I just get annoyed. Canadians do annoy the fuck out of me. I will say that, which I have to just assume that us Yanks, although please don't call us that Canadians, but certainly not a Southerner. You know, you are on the continent, so hopefully we're not still up under the Queen to that extent that we don't understand the Benton. Benton is from a part of the United States where I'm offended if somebody calls me a Yankee, but I understand that people from other countries may use Yank to mean American or a person, a citizen of the United States, which apparently is a corporation, or at least a legally speaking is a corporate construct as far as I understand. Why is by the way, why is the super chat not on the screen? My apologies, Bex. I was looking at it. This is how much of a boomer old man I've become, Bex, that I'm looking at it in blue and talking, but I had not yet put it on the screen. My apologies for that. Let's give the gal her money's worth, and thank you. And I do plan to return to. I've been a regular person who has gone around giving out the live chat, so super chats rather, in the live streams. Sometimes even the super thanks at times. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Getting back to some of that YouTube money has already been dispersed. Actually, some of that got dispersed to Mr. Unslave, but I did that. I floated the cash for that. So actually, some of whatever YouTube's about to dole out, it's technically already been transferred to Mr. It was tribute to Unslavia. On my birthday, Mr. Unslaved came over here and contributed to what I've called the best birthday ever. Was me, the epic live stream that occurred on August the 12th of 2023 right here. So at a certain point, all the super chats were rolling in, presumably because it was my birthday. At a certain point, I started said, okay, we're giving the rest of the super chat to Mr. Unslaved. He's made his appearance. And he, because he's a humble man, he kept saying he was co-hosting the broadcast. In reality, he was guest hosting the broadcast. Because at a certain point, I left Dollar General to get 9-volt batteries for the powered microphone, which is in fact a powered portable stereo line mixer back. Since you're starting to get into equipment, and I'm certainly no expert, but this is the golden age of affordable electronics. I don't know if I have enough cable to do this. No, I don't. Never mind. I'm just going to show you this mixer, but something happened. Although I can show it, I just won't have audio while I'm showing it. No. Never mind. It's not. It's just I'd have to unplug everything. Sometimes the phone does not pick up the. Sometimes it stays on the phone mic and drives me insane because I have no way of knowing until later. But it is preventable, obviously. So I'm going to tell it so that it uses my fancy dancy $150 microphone setup here, which is not a lot of money. And in fact, I'm talking about in real life stuff, by the way. I don't know if you ever have plans to do IRL, and you might just be like, yeah, that's never going to happen. I've been doing IRL stuff the whole way through to some extent, whether it's been published on this channel or not. Oh, did he? Yeah, Tribe has got something's going on with Tribe as far as Unslavia, but I have had no involvement in any of that. It's none of my business. And Snafu, I want to remind you, this is not part of, I think, why Paul hasn't been around lately and why I'm not talking about Paul's and why I haven't been watching Paul as much. Because if I'm watching Paul a lot, I'm necessarily talking about Paul a lot. And I'm trying to get away from this thing where I know OTW was doing this to some extent, where it was becoming an arena to bash Paul. This is not the Bash Paul channel. And I know nobody's doing that right now. I'm just saying. We're getting shed of that, I can promise you. You know, he does listen some of the time. And I don't mean like, ooh, we're in trouble. I mean, like, if I have people like that in the audience, I aim to keep them. I'm certainly not. This is not going to become bash anybody. By the way. Yeah, this is wild entertainment, ain't it? Musical's a secret. In a way, it's better than any TV show I've ever seen because it is interactive, right? I am talking to you at least what I know of you in the time in which these broadcasts have been happening. Yeah, it's interesting dynamics, man. And again, it's really working for me as far as getting what I need out of this to be mentally healthy, right? Be able to maintain my own to be able to keep my mental health at a minimum, at a level where I'm good, right? And see, I'm good, man. That's the thing is the car, all of these possessions. Realistically, my streamer setup, my entire setup fits in this backpack. Now, I say I don't believe in coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. I really don't. I never have. Even when I was NPC as fucking in some ways in my life. Believe it or not, Robert, I was much more like you at a time than I was like I am now. That's what I'm trying to tell Robert Escobar. It's a progression, bro. Because he's like, what can I do to convince you? I said, man, I'm farther along the progression. He can't convince me of anything. He would have to catch up to me on the progression and then hopefully pass me, right? Oh, and notes. More notebooks are coming into play. It's funny how I'll spend freely and gamble, but then it's like when I'm at the store and there's notebooks, now all of a sudden I'm a cheapskate, right? Like, dude, just buy some fucking notebooks. Yeah, I don't think I know it's not a coincidence that I have the exact perfect type of backpack, but obviously not going to be able to carry around, very many changes of clothes or underwear or pairs of socks. I got 12 pairs of the compression socks. Certainly going to be carrying those. Most likely not abandoning, but most likely moving out of the storage. Just re-upped on that, by the way, another $70. Which $70 a month for storage, and never had to think about it because I was truck driver. Now that's not a woe is me. That's a strategy of and I learned some of that from Adam Carolla, who said, he said his parents and a lot of people put way too much energy and effort into squeezing the most they can out of every nickel. He said, man, I realized just make more money and then don't waste time trying to be that frugal. Just fucking spend the money. And I was living that way. I wasn't wasting much money, but I was like, hey, notebooks, I'd grab 3 or 4. Who cares? And if I only use 1 out of the 3, does it even matter? I certainly don't have time. Or if to go get a notebook when I need it could involve like anywhere from damn near impossible to got to drop a trailer and bobtail to somewhere, right? And there were times when I was at a truck stop trying to buy something, or at a barbecue restaurant buying an entire rack of ribs when I could still eat like that, and the person behind the counter was probably going through tight financial times, and they're like, so many of their customers are probably freaked out. They're sort of transferring that on to me, but I'm just like, I don't care what it costs. I live in a truck, man. Just put it in the fucking bag. And like, I'm not in a hurry, but it's like, take them. I already got the money out. I'm like, it's 100. Like, take the money. Like, I'm hoping for some change, but realistically, if I had to, I could just give you this for this. I certainly want the rack of ribs. Take the money. Goddamn. What is this, America or not? And at a certain point, there were times when I was in business establishments doing a version of, I've done this. This is what happened during the fake pandemic. And y'all want to tell me that this country is what we're told it was? You want to tell me that, all this American exceptionalism, the nuclear family, and that, yeah, maybe that is a superior way to live, the nuclear family, but that's not why people lived that way. They lived that way because the beast system programmed them to live that way. Ozzie and Harriet. That was the fucking highest level of propaganda blasted on the masses in your face, was literal Ozzie and Harriet. And if y'all don't know what Ozzie and Harriet was, just Google that shit if you want to, or search it. But there was times when I was literally doing this, not make literal again. I was waving the money, and I'm like, really? This is America, right? And there's times when I held up the money and said, yeah, I understand there's a sign that says that I must cover my face in here. What I know is I'm here with $100, or I just say I'm here with a pocket full of money. I don't flash cash that much, to be truthful, and I shouldn't be doing it out here where folks can see me. That's a bad idea too, but oh well. Not too worried. As we know, as we've seen, yeah, somebody could catch me slipping. I like my chamber. But anyway, still better not to do that thing at all. But yeah, I said, man, I just told him, like at the liquor store, there's 3 liquor stores. And I told him, I actually did, I preemptively told him. I walked in, I just said, yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to take my money. I said, I saw that sign that says put a mask on, but hell, I can walk outside and I can point to that liquor store and that liquor store. So out of the 3, I know somebody's taking my money. But I know I'm not putting a mask on. And I never did. I never, if I had, now again, this is just, I'm not finding a victory in this. If I had a choice in the matter, nobody got my money if I had a choice. But there were times I was in some area of Pennsylvania and nobody would sell me anything without a mask. Nobody. I mean, nobody. What do you do then? And so I was drinking at the time. It was a state, theirs is ABC. It's literal state run. Like all of the liquor, you can only buy liquor from the state on some level, or at least the county. However they do it. Now I'm making myself mad. I feel I'm. See, that wrath is still in there. That wicked spirit of wrath that I have not. That may in fact be the, and that is my testimony. I have been delivered from wicked spirits, unclean spirits, and demonic spirits. We're not a religious channel, but some of the folks were initially attracted, or at least I managed to keep them after attracting them over here. That's another thing. I managed to keep them to some extent, in part based on me being able to speak some spiritual shit at times. Yeah, personal growth, exactly, all of that. Yeah, all of that stuff there. Yeah, I'm going to Benton. Sorry, this is the problem. This is the drawback of the lavalier mic. At some point, the broadcaster's just literally punching it or jabbing at it. Let me calm down here. Take a breath. Actually, probably don't even need the lav for this particular portion. The mic pointed at me anyway. Oh. Never mind. I had for some reason I had the shotgun mic unplugged. How bizarre. Can you hear me? How's my audio? Oh, the wizard stuff. Yeah. Well, good. Yeah, everybody. I think nobody's above getting called out on anything, realistically. You know, I don't necessarily want to be in the box on Paul's. Do y'all remember when Paul was over here and he wanted to give me some counsel? Y'all remember that? Which, by the way, I'm certainly open to having a one-on-one conversation with Paul and Slave. But he was framing it in like just he's framing it like a one-on-one, right? But the subtext is it was going to be on his live stream, right? Which I'm not going to go on his live stream, and I'm just not going to do that and have my brain, not to that extent. Like I'm not going to just offer myself up for that. And that's sort of the dynamic. I understand why Oracle Light didn't want to come on here. I was going to do that. I said I was going to more or less dissect psychology out of my own curiosity, right? But I certainly could have tried to dress it up as if I'm trying to help the person. And maybe Paul is. I have no idea. But I have a strategy where I will not just out of nowhere, based on nothing, ascribe a pure motive to a human. And you do that a lot, Mr. Suspect, by the way. Highly Suspect love. That's one of his favorite things to do. And then martyrs himself after it. Of course it goes bad. And I bet if he's still doing that shadow work, I bet you he's coming to these conclusions and probably wants to talk to me about it. Well, guess what, Bubba? I'm so fucking high level on the fucking layperson pop, lay expert in pop psychobabble, pop culture psychobabble, not pop culture, but yeah, pop psychobabble. I'm so high level in that. I probably just correctly, through deductive reasoning, figured out where most likely you're at, partner. How can I do that? Now I might not have, but I bet I feel pretty good. I like my chances. So if he's really continuing to do all this work, which I believe he is, he's certainly courageous enough. So a lot of folks lack the conviction. They're not strongly, it requires strength of character to be able to do what I believe he's doing. So I certainly, if he was just like, hey man, I'm going through it, I need to I need at least 30 minutes real quick, you know, to try to, I need specifics basically, you know. I could be appealed to at a basic of, you know, at a, but not just, I don't know what we're talking about. There's no topic. We're just having a free form discussion. But see, that's what this live stream is. And he wants to know what's the topic. And I notice Big L sometimes wants to know what, we don't really do topics, but we do topics. What I mean is we don't pick a topic and stay on it. But a lot of these channels do, man. And a lot of these folks who are enamored with people and personalities. And the reality is I'm not, although I am in my own way. I am enamored with people and personalities, but only in my own way. It's very different than many folks' way, right? So I'm not, but I am. It's paradoxical. And a person is, in order, my thing is a person can never truly get to know themselves without training their mind to be able to resolve a series of paradoxes and to also desensitize, if that's the appropriate term, at least to become less uncomfortable, or to be able to sit almost as if in meditation, to sit with things that we are not comfortable with. And we know from what we were talking to Highly Suspect about earlier that he was making himself go into those spaces, and then he was describing just how disorienting and painful and jarring that is. And I am not interested in that part of it, and because I have a special skill that comes with its own special set of drawbacks that some people might call autism, where I get to just take that space, emotional space, and set it to the side, because I don't have the EQ to even deal with it right here, right now anyway. Certainly can't deal with it while I'm doing these other things. So I do find the time, and I have chosen, and I have discovered the value in me intentionally putting my own time, effort, energy, concentration, and focus into, okay, what are these feelings? While I understand that because of their very nature as emotions, they are certainly by their very nature irrational, and a lot of people have problems with that. Guess what? Mathematics encompasses the irrational. I'm not saying it's not mathematical. See, I think people immediately a lot of people get very, oh, he just said that our emotions don't jive with the mathematics. If I'm willing to accept that maybe this is all computer code on some level, or I certainly am willing to accept that it is all vibrating energy, the table's not actually solid. Strictly speaking, the mind contains whatever it needs to contain for me to decode the reality. So now we get into the concept of code. And I know this has all been I'm not covering any new ground with any of this, Highly Suspect. So you notice I'm very carefully restraining myself from explaining each concept. But this is what I mean about the abstraction. And I know you can do this, Highly Suspect, because I've seen him do this. I know he is able to do this. I now have like 4 or 5 different abstracted concepts before me, but I've gone into none of the greater concepts, and I'm not going to, probably. And that is a form of intelligence. I would assert that in order to achieve some level of effectiveness in this nightmare dystopia, fucking literal hell realm, zombie apocalypse, beast system, and Robert Escobar himself may be tapping into something. Robert Escobar Show. And that is the channel at the Robert Escobar Show is the channel. I'm not able to drop the link right now. He's doing something over there interesting. What that may be, I haven't been able to put my finger on, but just much like Mad Mystic, if only to provide me with just just a mere scant of entertainment, you know, as I'm perusing my my feed or my so-called algorithm or whatever it is. He's doing something, and in the brief moments in which I, you know, allow his broadcast to watch me, allow his live chat to read me, right? Something is happening. What that may or may not be, I'm not certainly not. It is certainly abstract. It may, in fact, not exist at all. Perhaps is a figment of my own imagination, but I'm no solipsist. That's the correct pronunciation in terms of these things. I only really am comfortable reading or typing about ultimately. The repression inherent or built into inherent of work, the society via which or through which I was socialized. And the fact that I can, in spite of abusing these particular substances, the fact that I can still to this day, in spite of what I've done to my brain and the destruction wrought by alcoholism upon my actual physical form, then again, is there even a physical form? As above, so below. So, and I actually said, "Do as thou wilt" recently, lest we forget, and had to quickly add, "is not the whole of the law," to be sure, because it's like, yeah, certainly never a Crowley guy, but some of the people and personalities I might have at one point been fascinated by, certainly, or at least as content creators, certainly were. Crowley was their guy. So, I've repented. I've made it right as far as I can tell. Certainly haven't gone back into any of those spaces, but I do have I have a pretty decent understanding of many occult topics, and found them very interesting, and still do. So I will admit, astrology, I'm not giving up astrology. I'm not, I'm not living based on astrology, which, as far as I know, would be maybe your divination, right? Now the cop pulls in across the street as I start talking about what may be an illegal substance. Is that a coincidence? I know not. But, certainly no argument with the authorities choosing to observe me. Of course, from their perspective, they may actually be attempting to ensure my safety, believe it or not. I mean, I don't see anybody else out here that may need protecting. Thank you, Gary Baxter. Much appreciated. But yeah, behavioral modification and mind control. I think these are great topics. The reality is, it seems to me like virtually everyone who comes to broadcasts such as this one, virtually everybody will agree, I believe. And now, please correct me if I'm wrong, and feel free to put your own, to fuck it, whatever I'm about to create, feel free to make love to it in your own way, and force me to view your beast with whatever your beast with two backs happens to visually appear as. Oh man, indeed. I'm trained to at least be able to leave on foot. Although if the police, since I've read the Arkansas disorderly statute, actually I'm not free to leave, at least for some period of time when the cop drives up. That's written in the statute. How convenient. Well played, Jack Boots, or well played, legislature, who lobbied for that legislation. And one of the best books I've ever read, listened to, The Power Broker, in, again, official fiction, certainly a series of psyops upon psyops upon psyops, to the point where it's about Robert Moses, who was in public, he was a so-called public servant. He served the public good, is the way he would put it. And if anybody ever watched that film, although I know none of you have, because certainly Yurt fella, an artsy fartsy movie, Yurt fella might have watched Motherless Brooklyn, written and directed by Edward Norton, and that's fraught with peril when a high-level actor who's won a lot of acclaim, such as Mr. Norton, goes into actually making his own film, much like Vincent Gallo's Buffalo 66, who did pull it off, as far as I'm concerned. Mr. Norton did not pull it off, although interesting film. I certainly enjoyed it. But that prompted me, learning about Robert Moses prompted me to want to see that movie. And then I listened to the very long audiobook, The Power Broker. Excellent. One of the best. I'm definitely going to read the book version, that physical book version. Yeah, fascinating. To be sure. Why I brought up Robert Moses, I'm not exactly sure. Must have been elements in there somewhere. Yeah, as long as I can continue to do what I've just done here, I know I'll have a place, if not on YouTube, certainly on the internet. Now, and as Bex is going through, and I'll Bex is doing something that I myself never really had to do, which is just or never chose to do, rather, just kind of spin up a broadcast. I had an advantage with Chalk Body Outline. I launched my podcast through the Chalk Body Outline sphere, or whatever we're calling that. I think there's a drone flying around, maybe. Now that would be interesting. How many of these officers they've asked, "Hey, what can I buy my own drone?" Why not? Why not, man? I would sit across the street, and fly a drone around, see what old Benton's up to. Although maybe I'm hearing criminal activity and the cops just got him cased out. Because there's a 18-wheeler parked over there. So now the law enforcement will view this as increased risk for criminal activity, because the cop will understand there's may not be anybody in the cab of that 18-wheeler, but there probably is somebody sleeping there overnight, and then you never know who might be inclined to have one of the local sex workers arrive by an automobile for servicing, to service spend time with the lonely trucker. Well, maybe that's why he's here. It may not have anything to do with me at all. I can't call it. I know we're going back to the clubhouse, though. It's almost time for me to check in on that roast. It's going to be excellent because it contains beef. Where's the beef? Oh, my gallbladder. Just thinking about that beef. I got a little. Fellas know what I'm talking about. Get a little tingle in the balls here and there. Kind of like just a reminder that that thing's good for the mojo, whatever that thing may be. But yeah, got a little gallbladder kind of perked up a little bit. Oh, animal fat. Don't mind if I do. Tallow, by the way, $15, man. And again, I'm aware of the very high inflation, which is interesting. That what is the value of Chinese consumer electronics? Those prices have not increased for the most part. I'm sure with some exceptions. Those prices haven't really gone up that much. And I might kill the cam. I'm starting to get to where I don't really like just the looking at myself in the mirror while people are driving by going, look at this fucking bozo. I'm starting to not enjoy that as much. Especially since at least the local authorities seem to more or less know that I'm out here virtually every night. What they think is night. To me, it's morning. Oh, that's Snyder over there. Snyder company driver. That was my first company. Still fucking rocking the old body style Freightliners, man. That's a big advantage, by the way, to these so-called mega carriers. Like the companies I work for generally end up being 150 trucks, 100 trucks, something like that. Ever since I left the big companies, they're still running. That's outdated equipment. Actually, that is the newer body style, but it's been enough years now. But they can run the old equipment for way longer, and then like what they did to me. They gave me old equipment as a brand new driver, and if I fuck it up, it's not that big of a deal. And then when times happen like what we saw with the fake pandemic, the reality is a lot of these trucking companies just were not able to get the number of tractors they expected to purchase that year. So generally it's like a business thing, right? It's all of these companies are competing, and one of the big things is going to separate the companies who makes it and who doesn't, or who at least survives long enough to get bought out. I mean, ultimately that's what I think, just my opinion. Most of these guys that have built up these 150 truck, they know they're not going to survive this thing. I mean, they have to know. They can't. There's no way they don't. Most of them. I'm guessing. And trying to get big enough to get bought out effectively. What it seems to me. But so yeah, it's like, some companies might, it's like a blessing. They would be like, damn, to be able to get the financing or to make it work financially, to be like, yeah, we're going to buy 25 tractors, 25 brand new
Class 8 heavy duty tractors is what they're called. Sleeper trucks, to be specific. Conventional tractor, they're now called, which is kind of interesting. Conventional sleeper. But not available. Supply chain, can't get them. And also can't get the fucking parts, right? Like for a lot of this stuff. So the little guy or the owner operator who's just now started, like, because a lot of them, I guess, buy a truck working for somebody else, lease or whatever. And then when they buy a new truck for themselves, then they hire a driver, and they get under their own authority. They hire a driver and on down the line. Eventually they have like 5 trucks or whatever, and it builds from there. Yeah, those guys, a lot of them couldn't even run because it was like, oh, some sensor they need. It's just can't get it. And especially with all that emissions bullshit. So, but it doesn't affect the big company. It's to the big company's advantage, really. So now we get back to Benito Mussolini's helicopter hand, and the fingers on said, right? So it's going to be nothing but big companies, clearly. And then back to 1976 network. That's one of the things Ned Beatty conveyed to, the main character was exactly that. It's basically, it's just going to be one corporation, and more or less the implication was, in order to more or less, assuage or placate the humans, feelings of discomfort, insecurity, discontent, whatever negative emotions, to use that as a mechanism to make a corporate profit more or less on every single second of every single person's entire existence in the realm, which wouldn't that more or less be the end result of capitalism? What I just described, that would be ultimate. That would be like as efficient as capitalism could ever operate, I would assume, under actual capitalism. Thanks, Rob G. Much appreciated, by the way. And shout out to Bex also for earlier. I don't know that I ever completely finished my Canadian dollar thing, but yeah, I understand that it has happened that the Canadian dollar was worth what an American dollar was. It's not that far off anyway. There's really no reason to ridicule the Canadian dollar. That's what I was trying to say. I just never quite got to the point of verbalizing it. So if you're still listening, Ms. Beck, or Miss Beck, hope you take that in the whatever. Now I'm speaking in cliches and platitudes. Thanks, Rob G. Good morning, Mr. B. Long-time listener, first-time contributor. Fantastic. Love that. Peace and blessings to you as well, sir. What a blessing. And my mom was talking about maybe having to work at Walmart, and I was well, not even have to, but she's considering going back to the workforce. Not that this would ever happen, but I was sort of envisioning a day. Just imagine if I ever got good enough at content creation, just have a source of income and just say, "Here, Ma, here's $500 so you don't have to go work." I mean, how much could she conceivably even earn at Walmart? No, she's an old lady. Come on. Not that she wouldn't do a good job. But yeah, she would, certainly. Mom's a good worker. Yeah. I was appalled, man. I said, "What are you talking about?" I didn't. My understanding was that they had the budget to not have to work anymore. So what the fuck is this? What are you talking about? It's got to be mismanagement of money. I mean, what else could it be? 24-day mark, says Bex. Well, that's cool, Rob, man. Thank you for that. That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, I understand that YouTube gets a chunk, and Google or whatever. Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I've always liked sending them. I've enjoyed seeing my comment on the screen, and whether the person chooses to read it out loud or not, or just it's an interesting thing. I think it's underutilized. I believe. Yeah, I do get it. Like I understand people are just like, well, fuck that. I'm not giving them up. But I mean, okay, if somebody just doesn't want to give money to YouTube, but we're all still giving to YouTube, there's no just. I get that, but we're still giving them our time, our attention, they seem to think they're monetizing you, even if you aren't directly sending money. The listener, I mean, it's corrupt, man. It's graft, just like everything else, just like all of the systems. It's literal graft. It's built right in. There it is. It's endemic. It's endemic. Endemic. Can't look up words right now. It's endemic. All right. Woohoo! Yeah. Smugness. Canadian smugness. Well, get into the American, just the arrogance, right? Believing that everything revolves around Americans, but then generally being correct in that assumption, but not always, clearly, and at times almost embarrassingly, not the case. We're working on it, Rob. I must confess that I've been shirking some of my. We want to talk about professionalism. Apparently, professionalism came up earlier. Apparently, I've been shirking some of my duties. One of which is at a certain point, I said I was going to get Venmo. I think I am going to do Cash App for some reason. Much like Highly Suspect not wanting to allow StreamYard to control his camera and his microphone, which I certainly get. Part of me just has a problem typing my debit card info into Cash App for whatever reason. But I guess I just need to put my big boy pants on and get over it, because there is people attempting to send me money lest we forget. So I guess that's worth the risk of just the seizure of my funds or whatever could occur, right? The reality is, if they want to seize my funds, they will. It's not that much money as far as what's in my account. So yeah, I guess I'll just we'll see, man. Maybe I can force myself to sign up with Cash App. Just do it. Like ripping off a Band-Aid. Just get in there and type away, sir. Start typing. I mean. Yeah, look for that, quite possibly. So yeah, Cash App, maybe. And I think I have a Venmo. Probably might just need to go tell it my banking information. Of course, YouTube, they're going to want that as well. I'm still trying to figure out when the first payment's coming, but I think we're looking at October, like October 7th, between the 7th and the 12th of October seems most likely. Although it could be this month. But yeah, I mean, I like the sound of 100%. Yeah, Zell's 100. Yeah, how that works is, so what do you pay the fee then? What I don't quite get the Zelle thing. I mean, I'm not complaining, obviously. More is better. But then if Zelle is the clear winner, why do people even use Cash App, right? So, and I'm not trying to be a dick. It's just like, yeah, I understand, but there's like 3 or 4 of these things, and I will not use PayPal. Fuck PayPal. And that's another thing. Like, once I get to a certain level of annoyance with any of these things, I tend to drop them. But when we're talking about donos and being able to eat, literally being able to eat food, then or no hyperbole, then yeah, that's how that works. But yeah, I do like the sound of 100% raw. But yeah, so I guess I don't accept any form of payments right now. I mean, technically, although I will say this, I've had really good luck with people sending me Amazon gift cards because it can go to my email. But what we found is that for a lot of people, and I think it's probably because they're using debit cards or they have a new account. Because even me on my old account, I've had Amazon for a long ass time, but even me, sometimes if I try to use my debit card to buy a gift card, it just, there's so much fraud. I think it triggers some kind of fraud deal and it just won't allow it. So sometimes folks are like, yeah, I tried, man, but it won't go through. and then I've had people send Walmart to Walmart. But I do get it that, like, hey man, it's an information age, and like we really don't want to have to get in our car and go to stores to send uh, a content creator money, right? But some people have done that, and then like I actually, if I don't want, because sometimes I have a specific budgeted money in my account, so there's times when but I want to buy something on Amazon, I'll just go to Walgreens or CVS or wherever and I just buy an Amazon gift card and with cash, and then just use it on the site. So those also, there's a code there's a code associated that people can email if they want. Because I do buy a lot of things on Amazon, but then they've become somewhat unreliable. And then it's like, hey, I hate corporations, but I love fucking Walmart, Amazon, and Starbucks to some extent. Like, how does that work? Like, well, we're not really living up to what we think we're living up to there, Bubba. But have nothing yet, We Free. But look for that soon. In fact, I'm thinking now. I'm starting to regret not having such. But apparently, Cash App and Zelle are the two being talked about most. And again, thanks again to Rob G. I believe that's who that was. Let me go back and make sure. Yes, Rob G. Indeed. Starlink. What, like what, one of them balloons or something? One of Elon's balloons? I'm out of the loop on that too. Man, I'm about wore out, y'all. I'm just gonna call it like I see it here. I don't know what this sleep cycle's about. I'm still going, but yeah, I'm back. It's like think I'm truck driving or something. I'm going to bed at more or less the same time I did when I drove a truck. If I was driving nights, and I'm waking up about the same time, but like alert and feeling good. But fatigue, man, a lot of fatigue. Lot of fatigue. So, and I know I was going off on Highly Suspect quite a bit earlier, but that was the friendly beat, by the way. But I realistically don't have the time or the energy, honestly. But if I do, it's going to need to be on a stream or a podcast style. I definitely didn't have nothing for him yesterday. I was on the verge of passing out from THCO, buddy. Got nothing for you. Speaking of which, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this vaping to coming to an end. Yeah, looking forward to that. Definitely looking forward to this feast I'm about to have. Oh yeah, actually it's going to be a few more hours. Coffee, I haven't even had my coffee yet. Although I keep saying I'm going to quit, but I guess I got to quit talking about it or just quit. So yeah, I haven't chosen to quit as of yet. I think I intend to. I believe that I intend to. Oh, I remember what I tried to go into earlier, and apologies. This must be very frustrating for the audience. I know I would be fucking pissed, but I was going to go into the mind control and how, the one thing we all agree on, and then I never said what we actually could all agree on, or one of the few things we could all agree on, that if I don't program my own mind, it has already, but it's certainly going forward. If I don't have my own thoughts organized and my control of my own space, as far as, how I'm interfacing with those, intelligences and all of that, if I don't, put the beliefs in and, really pick and choose, and then also hold myself to the standard of acting on it as well. That's another piece. But, any of those areas that I neglect, the system will absolutely fill in the gap immediately. And as we know, for most folks, they're just straight up heavily programmed, including in the so-called truth communities, which I've been saying for quite some time now that this, and I'm talking about the overall, the fact that we're over here even talking about this, you know, it does kind of exempt us in a way, right? But I've said that for a long time, that just as heavily programmed. And I'm not the one who came up with that. Like some of these are just ideas that other people said, and then I, you know, believe that I confirm them like through my own observations and deductive reasoning. If that makes sense. Yeah, beef stew. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm having. Beef stew. It's gonna be delicious. Sweet potato, carrot, and beef, and that's it. You can say whatever you want about seasoning. I'm in semi-starvation. It's gonna be delicious. Like you don't need nothing. Just that beef itself is gonna be delicious. Yeah, apologies for never quite making my point earlier. So that was it. Just basically a very trite, you know, if I don't program my own mind, and Bex had a particular specific phrasing that I'm now no longer remember. Let's go out on the super chats. Yeah, awesome. By the way, it ain't nothing, that's for sure. It means something to me, and I definitely nothing else was gonna. I wasn't gonna get $20 from doing anything else in that time. You know, I'm not certainly not viewing it as a job or anything. If people want to do it, that's great. If not, that's fine as well. And I have to have that attitude, or I will become a fucking tyrant. Humility, man. I got to stay humble on that front, or well, there will be 0 viewers, or just go watch Dark Side Phil, maybe. He's having wars with his audience. Shit, I kind of want to keep yakking, but can't be doing that in my hovel at 3 a.m. Fortunately. All right, y'all. I'm gonna get out of here. I'll probably be back later. You know, I won't be able to stay away. We know that. It's like, yeah, we know that. But, all right. Thanks for watching. Bye.